You can't make the type of changes that we've made. You can't drive the type of success that we've driven. You can't have the type of outcomes that we've had, both academically and operationally, without challenging the status quo. And when you make these types of reform changes, when you have to challenge the status quo and it's solely focused on student success, there will be some disagreement. Everyone won't like every decision that is made, but this has been a very collaborative process. And in challenging the status quo, in driving change, pushback is inevitable. It is inevitable. Faculty, 20% of our faculty have had the opportunity to serve on our reinvention task forces. They have in fact had a voice.
The president says that when he met with you about a month ago, that he wanted to establish a relationship, and instead you put before him a PowerPoint presentation telling him that all the claims that he had made about city colleges were a myth. So that you were defensive, you weren't collaborative, you weren't open door with an ear to listen.
I have very much and have always had an ear to listen. But Fran, if we're going to disagree, we have to disagree on the facts. And so what we need to establish first are the facts. And then let's talk about those and let's move on from those.
The tuition hike has been punitive, he says, on part-time students who are the backbone of this system. You're trying to incentivize students to go full-time, and yet a lot of them can't. They're working, they're parenting.
So I think, Fran, the tuition increase can't be seen in a vacuum without looking at all the other reforms that we've put in place. We have made a lot of structural changes to City Colleges of Chicago to make it easier for students to balance both work and academics. We have a whole pathway program which has taken all of our programs and put them in semester by semester pathways so that students don't have to take a big course book and try to thumb through and piece courses together while they're also trying to piece life together. And now we're working on predictive scheduling so that we can offer those pathways and blocks of time that fits our students' life. And so I think we're financially incentivizing them to do so. And so it's not just a tuition increase in a vacuum, it's everything we've did to structurally make it easy for our students to transition through the system. And as it relates to part-time, since we've changed the tuition structure, and keep in mind, we eliminated 150 fees that students used to be faced with, which made it harder for them to get into some programs. Since we've implemented this new tuition structure, our part-time enrollment has increased by 1%. We had a lot of students who were just stuck at 12 credit hours because they thought it would be too much of a financial disincentive not to take 15, which in fact taking 15 credit hours actually can add a whole nother year to the time that they spend with us. So when you couple the things that we've did structurally, now with the financial incentives that we have, I think we've struck the right balance. And I think that, again, going back to the facts, our facts show that. Since we've implemented the tuition increase, not only has part-time enrollment increased by 1%, but we have more people taking, more of our students taking more classes now in the 15 category, and actually they're performing better.
Why are you leaving?
So Fran, as I told you, when I came to City Colleges of Chicago, my goal was to change an institution that had given me my start in life. This was an institution that unfortunately, both academically and operationally, was one of the worst performing nationally. And it was my goal to make sure that I could give every student the same opportunity I had. But as I quickly learned when I launched Reinvention, the issues the City Colleges of Chicago was faced with was not just rooted in Chicago. that it was a national issue that was happening. There was nationally something happening in higher education that needed to change. And so reinvention was a model not just for City Colleges of Chicago, but a model that I created in hopes that it could be used to spur change nationally, to help others implement the type of change that needs to happen in higher education in order for our nation and our regions to thrive. And we've gone from being one of the worst performing nationally to a model. City Colleges is now a model
But you're still
for
not,
national
you're still not at the
reform.
20% national graduation rate.
We're still not at the 20%. We are at 17. We've gone from 7 to 17, and I can
You're
tell
still
you,
not at national average.
I can tell you this, Fran. If we were at 20%, I would tell you that's not good enough. We cannot become complacent because of we feel like we've reached what is become, a national average. Yes, we've increased the graduation rate over 141%, but we certainly cannot feel like the crisis is over. Whether it's 17 or whether it's 20, we still have a lot of work to do.
So where do you go from here? Where are you going?
So I haven't made that decision yet. I still have a year, Fran. I'm still here for a year. My focus right now for this year is I have the same fire in my belly as Chancellor of City Colleges of Chicago right now today as I did in 2010. I will make sure we continue to focus on this 5-year plan. And as you pointed out, 17% is not at the national average, so I still have a whole lot of work to do within this year.